开始来。
Empanadas.
Barnaby Buttercup the fourth, but everyone just called him Barnaby, was a golden retriever puppy with more enthusiasm than coordination. He loved making friends, especially with inanimate objects, and his understanding of personal space was minimal. Barty believed that everything had a voice, especially the vacuum cleaner. This noisy beast, in Barty's mind, wasn't just sucking up dust bunnies. It was having a conversation, albeit a very loud and somewhat grumpy one. Whenever Mrs. Higgins, his human mom, turned on the vacuum cleaner, Barty would tilt his head, his ears perked, and engage in a lively, one-sided dialogue. "Woof, woof," he'd bark, which in Barty speak meant, "Hello there, Mr. Noisy. How are you today?" The vacuum cleaner would respond with its usual whoosh growling, which Barty interpreted as, "I'm a bit dusty. Thank you for asking. Just trying to tidy up around here." Their conversations would escalate into enthusiastic barking and roaring from Barty, and increasingly frantic sucking noises from the vacuum cleaner. Barty would often try to offer his favorite squeaky toy, Horace the Hedgehog, to the vacuum cleaner as a peace offering, much to Mrs. Higgins' amusement and Horace's muffled squeaks. One afternoon, during a particularly intense debate about the merits of chasing dust bunnies versus actual bunnies, Barty got a little too close to the vacuum cleaner's nozzle. With a surprising slurping sound, the vacuum cleaner ate one of Barty's floppy ears. Barty yelped, Mrs. Higgins shrieked with laughter, and Horace let out a very panicked squeak from Barty's mouth. Thankfully, Mrs. Higgins quickly turned off the vacuum cleaner, and Barty's ear emerged, slightly ruffled but unharmed. Barty, however, remained convinced that the vacuum cleaner was just a very enthusiastic and slightly nibbly conversationalist. Barty loved helping in the garden, mostly by supervising Mrs. Higgins' planting efforts. This usually involved digging enthusiastically in freshly turned soil, taste testing any interesting-looking leaves, and rearranging the flower pots with a happy wag of his tail, an occasional clumsy nudge. One sunny morning, Mrs. Higgins was planting a new row of bright red petunias. Barty, eager to assist, decided to help by digging little holes next to each plant. His digging, however, was less about precision and more about enthusiastic excavation. He ended up creating a series of rather large and uneven craters, some dangerously close to the delicate petunia seedlings. Then he spotted the watering can. In Barty's mind, water was just another fun thing to play with. He grabbed the handle in his mouth and, with a joyful shake of his head, proceeded to water the garden with gusto. Unfortunately, his aim wasn't the best, and most of the water ended up spraying Mrs. Higgins, who was trying to carefully plant the petunias. Covered in water and dirt, Mrs. Higgins couldn't help but laugh at Barty's enthusiastic but ultimately unhelpful gardening assistance. Barty, covered in mud and looking very proud of his efforts, wagged his tail, convinced he was a master gardener. The petunias, however, might have had a different opinion. Barty had a secret fascination with the remote control. He didn't understand what it did, but it smelled interesting, mostly of human hands and the occasional drop snack, and it was the perfect size for a gentle chew. One evening, the remote control mysteriously vanished from the living room coffee table. Mr. Higgins, Barty's human dad, searched high and low, his frustration growing with each passing minute. "Where could it be?" he muttered, flipping cushions and peering under furniture. Barty, sensing the distress, decided to put on his detective hat, which, as usual, involved tilting his head and looking intently at everything. He sniffed the coffee table, the rug, even Mr. Higgins' slippers. His nose led him on a winding trail, right to his own cozy dog bed. And there, nestled amongst his blankets, was the missing remote control, slightly damp and bearing a few telltale teeth marks. Barty looked up at Mr. Higgins with an innocent expression, as if to say, "Was I keeping this safe for you?" Mr. Higgins couldn't help but chuckle at the sight of the guilty-looking but utterly adorable culprit. He retrieved the remote control after a quick wipe down and gave Barty a gentle head scratch. Barty, convinced he had solved the mystery of the missing clicker, wagged his tail triumphantly. He might not have been the most helpful gardener or the best conversationalist, but he was undeniably the most enthusiastic and hilariously well-meaning member of the Higgins household. If you like this video, please leave a like and a subscribe. It will really help our channel grow. But if you don't like it, then just skip it and don't forget to check out our other videos. Thank you very much and goodbye.